welcome to, I have to think about this one. Let me just check my calendar. Is it Tuesday? Wow, this is serious, isn't it? I am really having extreme difficulties. Yes, it's Tuesday. I can say that with a reasonable amount of confidence. So those of you who are still listening, after realising my inability to name the day, let's continue. For those that have left, quite right too. S&P futures, we are going to add to our short position. The short position that we initiated at 11.23 is more of an intraday position and peeled some off quite early. Then it's really moved in our favour. We took a nice chunk of this move here. Got a nice bit of consolidation yesterday, which is to be expected after this move down. What we did overnight was to add to this position at 10.86.5. We added to this at 10.86.5. I would say anywhere between this level and 10.90. As you can see there, where I've got, which lines up with the 8-day exponential moving average, just here. So anywhere between this level and 10.90, I think is a decent place to short. I would use wider parameters, so smaller position size, because I want my stop above here. So I'm going to be giving this sort of 20 point plus stop. So wide stop, but risk to reward ratio sort of adds up, because once we sort of take out this spike low from Thanksgiving, the whole Dubai world debacle, if we call it that, we open up 10.35, so that sort of gives us, a good what is that, 50 points? Gives us a good 50 points lower, risking just over 20. That adds up for me for a first target. RSI acting pretty good here. We've got a lower low on the RSI. It's trading just above 40, which isn't great, but you can see the volume rising here on the selling days. So that's where we're at there. A lot of emails about Euro US dollar. Quite a bit of a surprise yesterday that the RBA, the Australian, whoa, what have I doing there? Didn't we do that? The Australian Reserve Bank did not raise interest rates, which has sort of surprised the market in general. They held them steady at 3.75%. I just want to state one thing. We have, I have read a report from a friend of mine in Australia who's running a hedge fund out there, and he has said that there is not a change of policy in the RBA. So they've started on this path of raising interest rates. Their statements were they wanted to allow the markets time to digest the previous 3 rate increases. So that seems reasonable, that seems sensible. We took this as an opportunity to add to our already short position on this retrace to the 50. Seemed a very nice level. As you can see, we had a retrace to the 50 here, had one here, popped above. Here's a nice example why I like to see 2 candles above 50 to close it, because you can sometimes get faked out. You get this sort of ice hole failure. Stock pops through the ice hole, but then comes back in, and that in fact is a very bearish signal and a really tradable signal set up as well. So we still are long-term bullish the Aussie, which means we would short the Euro Australian dollar, which we have already. We added to it. We're at the money, but we had, obviously on a big up day like that, it's to be expected. We've added to it We've added to it on this retrace to the 50, and let's see if we can come back, test the lows down here, stop being above the 50. Although that won't be a hard stop initially for us. We'll look for the two-day close, 2 candles closing above the 50-day EMA, which is this thick blue line running through the middle here. Let's quickly go and look at Euro Aussie dollar on 120-minute chart. So the temptation was to wait and see if we reach this 58, small number, 58.93ish level, which is weekly R2, which would be a very powerful signal, but we just felt now was a time to get in. As we look at the RSI, quite bullish, but if it's starting to curl here, you can see at 60. So this would be like sort of pretty bearish if it can't reach 80, gets to 60 and then starts to roll down again. so it could be a possible sort of something setting up there. Slight divergence. This was yeah, not much really to speak of, but slight divergence, slightly lower high on the RSI as the stock's obviously made a higher high on one. I'm looking at 120-minute chart now. So we just thought, yeah, we'll nibble in now again and add to our short position. That was the thinking behind that. Although certainly waiting for it to, if it could reach weekly R2, would also be a very decent place to short the stock. Okay, I think that wraps up today's free daily pre-market report. As always, any questions, martin@thegeniustrader.com. There goes, there's a cat, black cat round here. It's just walked past the window and it gives me really craziest looks ever. And we started off having a not very good relationship, me and the cat. I mean, I'm not really a cat lover. And he used to sit in our sort of porch in our house in the country. And because the sun comes there on the front and he's sheltered from the wind, so he sits there and chills out. So when you open the door, he just sort of sits there and looks at you just to say, yeah, what? You know, what do you want? And the thing I used to think, oh, cats are so cold, I don't like them. But now I quite like them, cats. They're sort of like, yeah, and, yeah, what? What are you going to do? What do you want? I think, yeah, I like that. So he just sort of lays there, chills out. But what I like is he knows. He sees me when I come and he just sort of gives this back glance. He just say, yeah, what are you looking at? And I like that. I was just seeing him prowling about outside there. I mean, he's a big boy. I mean, he packs away a bit of grub. So I threw out some biscuits to him at Christmas and he just smelt them, looked at them and went, yeah, I ain't eating them. So I don't know if any of you are cat lovers. I don't know why I'm talking about it, but I just sort of fat git stroll past the window in his normal nonchalant manner. Anyway, back to the markets. Sorry, shorting. I've shorted S&P futures at 1086.5. Anywhere between 1086 and 1090 is a decent place. Remember though, we are giving this wider parameters, this trade. I want my stop up here above the 8, the 21 and the 50 EMAs. So looking good, you know, this is looking pretty bearish here. We've got an 8 and 21 EMA cross, they've widened. They're both now just moving below, well the 8 has, and now the 21 is trying to move below the 50 EMA. Bit of consolidation, forming a sort of bear flag here, bit of a retracement back up to the 8, so looking pretty bearish. But we'll see, we'll play this one out, and I think that sort of wraps up everything. Discussions about cats included. I look forward to speaking with you again tomorrow. Till then, happy trading.